Welcome to USF College Daily. I'm Kaylin Markstrom. Star Wars Celebration is held every spring as a convention for fans of all things Star Wars. With the celebration being held April 13th through the 16th in Orlando, Florida, here's Casey Kelderman with his countdown of the greatest films from a galaxy far, far away.
Welcome to USF Movie Moment. With Star Wars Celebration in just a few days and Episode 8, The Last Jedi, set to release in December, I thought it'd be timely to do a countdown of the 8 Star Wars theatrically released live-action films. So that means we are not talking about the holiday special, we're not talking about the Ewok Adventures. Sorry, fans of those films. Coming in at number 8 is Episode 2, Attack of the Clones. I first need to say I find enjoyment in every Star Wars film, but Episode 2 is the bottom of the barrel as far as Star Wars films go for me. It has a mediocre spy mission with Obi-Wan Kenobi, who is my favorite Star Wars character. Even that couldn't save this movie for me. And there's also the Twilight-esque love story between Anakin Skywalker and Queen Padme Amidala. So it's hard to deny that this is one of the worst Star Wars films. At number 7 is what many would consider to be the worst Star Wars film, and that's Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace. I think a lot of the hate from this movie comes from the hype train that this movie had, building up for it 18 years ago when it came out in 1999. But looking at it now, I think there's a lot of positives to this movie. You have Liam Neeson, he is fantastic as Jedi Master Qui-Gon Jinn, and Darth Maul, in my opinion, is still one of the most interesting and best-looking Star Wars villains and characters to date. While many people have problems, with Jar Jar Binks or young Anakin Skywalker, my biggest negative is this film comes to a screeching halt halfway through and discusses trade negotiations. We don't want that in our Star Wars movie. We want lightsaber fights, not trade meetings. You hear me, Donald Trump. And number 6 may be my most controversial pick, and that is the newest Star Wars film, Rogue One. Rogue One is the first spin-off movie of the Star Wars film, so it's not set with, a number like 1, 2, 3, 4. It's the first spin-off, so it's a side story to the actual main saga. So what Rogue One lacked for me was the great characters that every Star Wars film should have, and what Star Wars is known for. The characters in this film felt lifeless. Each one told us why we should care about them rather than show us, which is the best way to do it. Also, I didn't understand the random squid monster. That's going to come up a little later. It's a kind of running theme in some of the bad parts of Star Wars. Anyway, there's no denying that the final battle scene in a certain hallway scene with a Dark Lord of the Sith is just pure enjoyment, and that's why it is my number 6 choice. Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith, is my number 5 Star Wars film of all time. The film has plenty of important moments to the Star Wars story as a whole, including the fall of the Jedi, the rise of Darth Vader, and the birth of our heroes, Luke and Leia. My favorite part of this movie is just the pure enjoyment that I find in the performances of Ian McDiarmid as Emperor Palpatine and Ewan McGregor as Obi-Wan Kenobi. Those two just play those parts perfectly and have so much fun playing them. The fight sequences in the film are enjoyable, but many drag on too long, which is a problem, so that's why this film does not get a higher rating for me. Coming in at number 4 is in fact Episode 4, A New Hope, the one that started it all. The original Star Wars film kicked off the galaxy far, far away and introduced us to an entirely new universe. The film is an introduction to all the great characters: Luke, Leia, Obi-Wan, Vader, Han Solo, C-3PO, R2-D2. You get what I'm talking about. Anyway, even though I've seen this film 100 times, I still get something new out of it each time. The character arcs for both Luke and Han Solo in this film continue to leave the audience and myself wanting more. Episode 7, The Force Awakens, is my number 3 pick. The reintroduction to the Star Wars galaxy in 2016 created a new hero in Rey and a sympathetic villain in Kylo Ren, which is great characters that we need in the Star Wars galaxy. The characters and overall progression of the Star Wars saga in The Force Awakens is what puts this film slightly above New Hope for me. The only problem I have with this film is, again, the running gag that I have right now, is squid monsters ruin these movies. So the squid monster on Han Solo's ship, that's a definite negative for me. So note to the creators of Star Wars, don't put squid monsters in your movies anymore. Number 2 is Episode 5, The Empire Strikes Back. This film is what many consider to be the best Star Wars film, and what I consider to be the best Star Wars film in terms of writing, acting, directing, and all the technical parts that go into making a movie. But Episode 5, it continues leaving audiences on the edge of their seats, from the opening battle scene on the snow planet Hoth to Luke's training with Yoda, and lastly to the big final battle between Darth Vader and Luke Skywalker, where we get the huge revelation, the biggest spoiler of all time: Luke is Vader's son. So anyway, the film also has some of the most heartwarming and heartbreaking moments, from the love story of Han and Leia to the revelation, as I said, of Vader being Luke's father. There's no argument for me that this film could not also be at the #1 spot, but coming in at #1 is the greatest Star Wars film of all time, in my opinion, Star Wars Episode VI, Return of the Jedi. As I said, I would not argue with anyone that would have Empire Strikes Back as the greatest, but I find the most enjoyable Star Wars film to be Episode VI. What I love about this movie is that the opening third is basically a side adventure with all our favorite characters when they go and save Han Solo from Jabba the Hutt's palace. It is great character pieces, it's great puppetry, and great fun new characters that we have not seen in Star Wars Galaxy before coming together, and we see our heroes, take out Jabba the Hutt, and we go to our main story, which involves the rebellion versus the Empire. So what really puts this movie over the rest is the final emotional battle between Darth Vader and Luke Skywalker in the Emperor's throne room. The battle between father and son, good and evil, the tale as old as time, honestly, has reached its peak, and Vader must decide between his son and power over the galaxy. One final point I would like to make out is that, yes, I like Ewoks. If you say that they're just furry teddy bears or just cute creatures to sell toys, you're wrong. You are wrong. Look back at this scene. Remember those Stormtrooper helmets that they were playing drums on at the end? They ate those Stormtroopers. You know it to be true. There is my list of the 8 Star Wars live-action films. I'm excited to see how this list grows and evolves as we continue to get a new Star Wars film each year, starting off with later this year, The Last Jedi. So for USF Movie Moment, I'm Casey Kelderman.
For more news and information on the events of Star Wars Celebration, please visit StarWarsCelebration.com. From one science fiction series to another, Avatar 2 is scheduled to begin filming later this year. The much-anticipated sequel to the 2009 film will see James Cameron returning to direct, with Sigourney Weaver set to reprise her role as Dr. Grace Augustine. On the production of the film, Weaver states, "We have started training, and I probably can't say much anything. We will be actually shooting it by the fall." The first film grossed a total of $2.7 million at the worldwide box office, making it the highest-grossing film of all time. The sequel is set to be the first of multiple Avatar sequels to be directed by Cameron. That's all the time we have for today. Come back tomorrow for another news update. For USF College Daily, I'm Kalen Markstrom.